Hello. This is a bit of a problem. So, I want this video to be a certain amount of timeless. It sort of needs to be, because I feel like this is something that's going to haunt the Legends universe and kind of what I'm doing with it for a very long time. But most of kind of the stories that come out. But at the same time, I cannot be made with the highest quality, and I apologize for that. My throat is a little ruined. I need to go on vocal rest as soon as I'm done with this. I am also recovering from being sick, and there was a lunar eclipse the night before this was recorded that happened at 3:30 a.m. And to ensure I woke up in time. I elected not to sleep. So I understand that I am a bit of a mess and the recording is a bit of a mess. I ask that you give it grace. Uh, Spoilers in the Legends universe. The thing to consider here is that there is a number of factors working against me and two things working against you. The things working against me range from, if you have watched any of the dialogue about the Legends universe, even that's only been released to date, as of the time of recording, I hope you appreciate that there is a scale at work here. There are so many places in the Legends universe, and they have existed inside of the setting for so long. 20 years of storytelling that has always been maintained. So there are a tremendous number of. I really can't tell the story of Anaheim. Anaheim in universe is one of the mightiest realms that ever exist. It is not dissimilar from the Legend Zone Roman Empire, the difference being that we think of the Roman Empire as being a great deal further back in human history, in certain contexts, than we would think about Anaheim in the context of Legends history. Keep in mind that this is a, you know, it's fantasy most of the time, but it happens across numerous planets. There are a lot of places that, depending on the timeline, have never heard of each other. And an age in Legends terms can mean millions or hundreds of thousands or billions of years. The Legends universe is older than our universe is in real life. Much older, tremendously older, and there was never a point in the Legends universe's history where there was not people doing things, where there weren't stories happening. The universe was designed very intentionally. People were there from the get go. That was kind of the point. From the lore's perspective, and they've been doing things. The first stage is literally the planets fighting each other. The planets and stars and moons are living creatures. They had a war, and that ended up shaping solar systems, along with a little bit of preordination and a few other things. That makes it hard to tell any of the other stories and not have everything else be a prologue. I brought up Anaheim because Anaheim has some of the coolest things happen to it, in my opinion. I really like the War in Heaven. I really like sort of the Sarai and the Dream Lords kind of making their deals. This whole nonsense with Velgen, the Great Defiance and the War of the Great Defiance. All like there's a lot that happens. Kyre is a bigger power than there's a lot more going on with like early Revolin and what they're doing. There's Anaheim does a lot, and it falls super dramatically. It is hard to because this is a universe of immortals. It is so difficult to tell some of these stories in a way where you will not hear about stories I haven't told yet. There's this thing that comes to mind, the Terry Pratchett reading order. I bring up Terry Pratchett a lot. I'll work on that. The idea being that, like, the order Terry Pratchett, the order that things happen in the sort of canon is not necessarily the best way to read it. But there are things that, like, intersect and all of these other things. I basically recommend that you are going to have to allow for spoilers to not bother you so much. I promise you that there are things in stories that are worth it more than just the ending. There's a lot of characters, growing up, the characters that it's so hard because the perspectives could be telling the story of, for example, just Jade Laurel, just Morban Arathian, just, Maywinter, or Vela, or, Marianne Page. There's a lot of characters who are in so much of the canon, they keep reappearing, that if you wanted to follow just one person's story, you would have to go through different events, and you will see different versions of those characters as they do. So the question becomes, well, how do you, from my perspective to you, how do you approach that? Like, let's say all of the stories get made, what order do you read them in? Like, if you're watching this video 10 years later, I don't have the best answer ever for what order you should read things in. The first story at the time of recording that I'm releasing is Crown for No King, because it starts the Imperial Age, which is, it ends the Age of Mystic, I think? Age of Arcane, one of those. It ends one age and starts the age that is the most dense, in my opinion, or it leads a sort of more modern version of the Legends universe that has it. It doesn't have some things. It doesn't have Anaheim. It doesn't have, there's a lot of things it doesn't have. The Great Defiance has already happened. Emmanuel is long since been banished. There's a lot of, like, time hasn't been destroyed yet. But the time period that story leads into is, in my opinion, a pretty good home or hub for these stories to jump off of. And that's not going to be true for all of them. A lot of the characters in Crown for No King are partly through their journey already, and I'm noticing some difficulties in communicating that, but, so, I recommend that you approach this setting, with a ductile and very, very dexterous, approach on what's going to spoil you. It's kind of inevitable. I can't talk, if I started in the days before time and I went through everything in order, we would not get to some of my favorite stories in a reasonable amount of time. It would take decades, maybe less, maybe 5 years, if this is all I do, and it can be all I do, but I feel like some of the context is honestly lost, and some of the meaning is lost. There are characters that are gone for an age; they're just not doing much. And I think it's all pretty valuable. And I want to showcase some of these stories while I know I can, because at the time of recording, understand that this is a venture. This is a I don't know what's going to happen. So I am doing this in a way that makes the most sense from where it is being made and releasing them for a lot of reasons. So we are going to be going back in time. You are probably, if by some miracle a story is recommended to you, there will be a before it, most likely, because that's where some of the best things happen, and so many characters come and go, and enter the stage, exit stage left, that you're going to miss something, and you will know something. I don't think that, and this is the other thing that's working against me, is my personal approach to spoilers is very, very different. I don't tend to mind spoilers that much, and I understand that I am A, in the minority, and B, how much that affects other people's enjoyment of things. So the thing working against you, the audience, is that I have to make an active effort to be more cognizant than I personally would be about spoilers, and that means I am making line ball calls that I don't know where it's going to land for you, but I am doing my best. I am trying to approach this in a way that keeps in mind your enjoyment of these stories in this universe, in this setting. I personally think that there's just so much that happens, and so many there are settings within this setting. Every realm has its own cavalcade of stories that could. I would love to do some stuff about Kyre, whatever. There's so much that happens, and that it is a challenge I don't necessarily have the greatest answer for, to communicate this the way I am trying. Or in the way that is best. I am trying to make the most intelligent decisions I can. But I am limited by my ability. And I don't know how much that is to be trusted. So this is I think, the video that may age one of the worst. Probably not the worst. I'm sure to make some manner of mistake in characterization, and or I just don't tell a story well. There's always the chance that I make some silly retcon. There's always it is a fool who discounts the possibility of mistakes being made. But I feel like the best thing I can do is be honest, try and meet you guys where you are, communicate what it is I'm doing and why it is I'm doing some of the things I am. But I want to just intone that there is no correct place to start. When that might become evident later. It's possible that if anyone ends up enjoying this, there will be people who will come up with a better organized sort of literary appreciation list of oh, this is obviously this leads into this, leads into that, and makes a complete story. That may come out. I believe that one of the things about being on the internet is that inevitably somebody smarter than you will get a hold of your work. So that may happen. My recommendation is I am releasing them in the best order I can. If in the far-flung future there is a tremendous amount to choose from, Crown for No King, assuming it's good, assuming anyone would recommend it once it's made. I think it's good, but I'm making it. I better think it's good. I think that that's a good place to start because I think it leads into the most dense era of the Legends history that I think is the most interesting and shows some of the most color. I think a lot of what I wanted Legends to be ends up coalescing so far into the history. You know, the Imperial Age is relatively close to the most modern point in the Legends canon as of recording. It's really pretty recent. There's only one age after it, really. Well, two ages, but right now we are at the very beginning of the Age of Ascendance. So, it is really like, and it's, don't worry about it. Without the kind of inside baseball, I don't know that that's going to be something that people are going to be able to understand. But yes, spoilers are probably going to be inevitable. I am not the best policeman for what spoilers should be or do, but I will do my best and do everything I can to respect what I can do and the best I can do it. I want to tell this story. I do. I want to tell you a story. And I'm going to do my best, and I hope it's worth watching.